Dear Anne, this is me, Leif. My grandfather Buddy was your favorite cousin, which makes you my distant cousin. You've always been a part of my life, and I feel the responsibility to keep your story alive and make a difference today. Now I'm traveling to the places you've been to. I started in Frankfurt, in the homes where you spent your early years, before fleeing the Nazi regime and moving to Amsterdam. I'll follow your footsteps there, visit your house and school. We'll discover what it means to leave your country and how it feels to build a whole new life. As of 1932, the German stormtroopers marched through the streets of Frankfurt chanting violent lyrics, "When Jewish blood drips off the knives, then our lives will be twice as good."
Alors, j'ai parlé avec mes femmes. La première chance qu'il y a, il faut quitter.
Dear Anne, as a 4-year-old, you had to move to a new home, learn a new language, and make new friends. Your parents found an apartment at Merwedeplein. Luckily, there were many children in the neighborhood, including some Jewish children like Hanneli and Sanne, who had also escaped from Nazi Germany. You made a lot of friends. You spent almost every day playing with them. Standing here in your home, I feel like the walls still hold memories. You were happy here, safe. This is where you first wrote down the thoughts we now know from your diary. I remember Buddy telling me that from this window, you'd often happily wave to your friend Hanneli. Today, your former home provides refuge for writers, people who aren't free to write in their own country.
Yalla, come here. The tea is ready. Yalla, cheer. Bismillah ala khair.
Mohamedou was wrongly accused of taking part in the attacks on the World Trade Center in 2001. He spent 14 years in a US prison without charge or trial. 14 years for something he didn't do.
They took me, and I could see in the rear view mirror of the police car my mother shaking and praying with her prayer bead. I never saw my mother again. She died when I was in prison. I was subjected to sexual assault, to abuse. I spent 70 days, when the torture started, 70 days without sleep.
I was deeply moved by Mohamedou's story and the way he coped with the trauma.
I have no hate. Hate, it's like drinking poison and hoping that your enemy dies.
Mohamedou's mission is to share his story through books, theater, films, and visits to schools. He transformed what was done to him into something deeply human and hopeful.
Lieve Kitty. Vandaag moet ik je 2 dingen bekennen die heel wat tijd in beslag zullen nemen. Maar die ik aan iemand moet vertellen, en dat kan ik dan toch maar het best aan jou doen.
It was special to hear him read your diary in the original language, in Dutch.
The only common thing between me and Anne is that we both love to write, and we are only known because we wrote.
Right.
How many Annes are there?
Yeah, and their voices
Yes.
have not been heard.
Never
Yeah,
been heard,
yeah.
but we know about them because she decided courageously to write.
To think of that they actually lived here, and this has been their home. And then you try to grasp the energy of the people that used to live here.
Do people tell you that you really like Anna?
No.
Really, they don't tell you that. But when you talk, no, don't lie to me. Please don't lie to me.
I'm not
Please.
lying. I'm yes.
You hate
I hate that it happens.
But you talk like her.
No,
this
but
is
the
like
things-
I'm reading. what
Yeah, but the
you
things
are.
you are saying, they sound like her too.
Yes.
See?
Dear Anne, in this room, you started your diary. This is the first sentence. I hope I will be able to confide everything to you, as I have never been able to confide in anyone, and I hope you will be a great source of comfort and support. I wish I could talk to you, but I can't. So I'm putting my thoughts on paper about the world that we live in today and the urgency of your story. If only I could tell you how powerful your voice has become.
Anne Frank is 6 jaar hier op de lagere school geweest. Het was een prettige leerling.
Anne Frank had been at the grammar school for 6 years.
Ze was een vlijtige en prettige leerling.
She was always interested in the things she did, and though she liked to chatter, it was never so that I had to stop her or make a remark. She was sociable with the other children and always willing to help.
After the war, they named this school after you, to honor you. You made a lot of friends while you were here. You felt more and more at home. You wrote in your diary, I love Holland. Once I hoped it would become a fatherland to me, since I had lost my own. And I hope so still. As refugees, your parents found a community at the Jewish synagogue in Amsterdam, meeting other Jewish families. Perhaps it offered them solace, a place where they could breathe freely for a while. Today, this place is an art space for young talent. Someone who understands the importance of community is Amjad. He was forced to flee his homeland Syria because of persecution. Now he is creating an online space for queer refugees.
Ik denk gewoon verbinding is het allerbelangrijkste en wat wij nodig hebben. Organisaties en plekken zoals bijvoorbeeld Buddy to Buddy die Nederlandse mensen met vluchtelingen samenbrengt om gewoon elkaar beter te leren kennen.
When did you read the diary?
It's actually a funny story because I grew up in Syria, right? And in Syria you learn about a lot of things in history, but you don't learn about the Second World War. I grew up in a super conservative village where we were not supposed to talk about Jewish people. We were not supposed to accept them. They were always seen as the enemy. Mm-hmm. And coming to the Netherlands and learning about Anne Frank and reading her diary, it was confusing me in a way because it felt like she was kind, she was sweet, she was powerful, but she also was Jewish. Mm. Everything that I learned not to be.
Of course, she was persecuted because she was a Jewish person, but she's more than just one thing. She's not just someone who's thinking philosophically about the world. There's many layers in her personality.
Definitely. I think that now I always try to see people for who they are and not based on religion or nationality or sexual orientation or whatever.
This is your legacy. Your influence is found in many ways, shapes, and forms. So, we arrived in Amsterdam, and I sat at the desk where Anne started writing in her room, and it felt so strange to sit there and to write on her desk. Because I know that she turned into this phenomenon, into this legendary person. And then also at the Montessori school where she went to, she's everywhere. There's pictures everywhere on the walls. It seems like she's a god to some people. Which I understand because her words are incredibly powerful. But I feel like we can't forget that she was a human. Like you and me.